One of the really fun aspects of my work over the last 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 10 years now, is we did some initial work on how to build a high-performance organization. We wrote about that in the book Chestnut Checkers. In that book, we outlined 4 moves that all high-performance organizations make. I'll not review those here, but we've had the privilege and the opportunity to come back and do research on each move, and I, along with the team, have created resources and books to support each move. Well, when you come to the issue of win the heart, which is really about engagement, there are so many leaders that seem, let's just say, at a loss. Now, you get to decide how big a problem this is, but every year Gallup produces a national engagement survey. And they're saying now that about 70% of the U.S. workforce is disengaged at work. Well, again, that's another story for another day, but let me say this. That is not a reflection of the workforce. That is a reflection of leadership. Leadership, you and I, we create the conditions that determine the engagement of our people. But again, most leaders understand that's important. They just seem to be at a loss for how to lift and maintain and manage and sustain the engagement of their people. So we wrote a book called Win the Heart, and it outlines 4 basic tenets that I would encourage you to consider the application in your context. So the first is connection. Like, do you have a connection with the people as a leader, right? Not do you know where they went to college. That matters if you read their resume, but do you have a connection with them? Are you investing time to build a connection? People who have a connection with leadership and with others tend to have much higher levels of engagement. Number 2, are you providing affirmation? Just a quick word on this. Affirmation and recognition are different. Affirmation is about how a person receives something. A recognition is an acknowledgement. It can be a program, but what is affirming to that person? And one size does not fit all. Some are going to want a trophy, some are going to want a day off, some are going to want a check, some are going to want public recognition, some are going to want a private note. All may be forms of recognition, but they're not equal as far as affirmation. And that's an individual proposition. So are you providing appropriate individualized affirmation? And are you facilitating that among your team? The third thing that'll drive engagement is responsibility. Most people want more responsibility. Now, they don't want to be overburdened and they don't want to necessarily be overworked, but they want to know that you trust them enough to give them real responsibility. When you do, engagement's going to go up. And then fourth and finally, what's the environment that you're providing for your people? And there's a lot in this category, but do they have the resources they need? Do they have the training they need? Are you setting people up for success? And when you do, they have the responsibility to do the work, but when you create the right environment, you create the right context, you're going to find their engagement goes up. And so, if you come back and work through this, connection, affirmation, responsibility, and environment. It spells care. And here's the deal. Care begets caring.